Welcome back to Touring the AFC South. I am your host, Mike Patton. And there is a big game this week featuring the AFC South team. That would be the Tennessee Titans Sunday night football, NBC, the Titans and the Chiefs. And of course, we do have to talk about it on the show. And I didn't want to do that by myself. So I wanted to bring in somebody that is a very, very big Chiefs fan and that definitely knows her Chiefs team. That would be Kingdom Queens podcast co-host Jodi Newsome. What's going on?
Hi, thanks for having me, Mike.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on. Now I have to ask. You're in Dallas, which many people may not know that you're in Dallas.
Correct.
But how did you become a Chiefs fan?
Man, I'm born and raised from Kansas City, Missouri. It's in my blood. I grew up with red and gold. Okay. But no, my family, I would have to blame my dad and my uncles. They have had season tickets literally my whole entire life to where I was little. So I have 4 uncles who had 2 season tickets each. So there was 8 seats just kind of rotating out through the family. So I would always just tag along with them until I was old enough to buy my own season tickets. And even though I live in Dallas, I still keep my season tickets in Kansas City. So I actually go home for pretty much every home game. And I say that, and I'm actually not going to this home game. This is the one game I won't be at this season. But yeah.
Got you. Now, yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting environment, to say the least. But we'll get to that in a minute. But I do have to ask, of course, Kingdom Queens podcast. You and is it 3 other co-hosts on the show?
Correct. I'm one of 4.
Yeah. Right. I just wanted to make sure I had it correct. I didn't want to say 4, 5, or 6, and then it'd be 4, and I'd be looking really silly. But how did that podcast come about with you 4 ladies?
Man, so we are actually a part of Starcade Media. They're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. They're all over. They're pretty big. Love them. I'm sure you heard of them. Know of Noah and Clint. They pretty much reached out to us and they were like, we really want to do an all women's podcast on Chiefs football. And so we were all like, okay. And I actually was super hesitant at first just because I don't really like looking at myself on camera because it's live. And I am silly. I'm a nut. And I know sometimes I stutter over my words. So even though I'm a huge, I have a big personality, I get really shy. So Lexi actually convinced me. She's like, Jodi, you can do it. Don't worry. So it's me, Lexi, Chrissy, and Shelly. Those are my girls. Again, I'm on Twitter. If you go on there, you'll see the Kingdom Queens page. You'll see them. But yeah, so we're actually on episode 9. This started this year. And there's been so much love for us. And I know I can speak with the rest of the girls when I say we're just so grateful for the fans, for everybody. We have had nothing but a ton of love. And it's great. We're halfway through the season and I can't wait to see what happens next with us too.
All right. So it sounds like you're kind of getting it going and falling into doing podcasting and seeing yourself on the screen, right?
It's weird. It's so weird. And they laugh at me because I refuse to go back and listen to the show. I love tough criticism, but I won't listen. I hate my voice. So I'm always listen and tell me what I need to do or what I did. And they give me heck for it, but it's okay.
Gotcha. I had to get over that myself when I first started. So, I definitely understand what you're talking about. No, of course we did talk about, the Kingdom Queens podcast, how, you became a Kansas City fan, but of course we got to get down to the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, before the season, I distinctly remember a lot of talk about Patrick Mahomes and he lost Tyreek Hill and he might not be the same. But for those that don't know, he's got 20 touchdown passes and 5 interceptions so far through 7 games, which, might I add, is two more touchdown passes than he had at this point in time last season. So to ask you, I'm going to point this question towards you. Did you expect him to be and look better this year without Tyreek Hill? Did you expect this?
Well, I think Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the world. And I'm not even trying to be funny. I know y'all hate us Chiefs fans, but I think he's the best quarterback in the world. And because of that, he could do anything with anybody. I mean, I just remember going through training camp and, you know, once we did the Juju signing and then we got MVS, we were all like, okay, like, who's going to be the one? Like, I think the one thing I love the most about us is there is no true identity to who we are as a team. And that is what really throws so many people off. We have so many weapons. I know Patrick is that guy. So he's going to do whatever he needs to do to make sure that the play happens. But I think what we love the most is you don't know who is going to get the ball. And that is something that's so different without Tyreek Hill. Like, and Tyreek Hill is that guy. Like, I don't know if you've seen it, which I'm sure you have, but I mean, he's getting ready to have his first 1,000-yard season. I mean, his first 1,000 yards of the season. He's on trend for 2,000 yards. So I think it's beautiful that they both can still have amazing seasons without each other, and still be very dominant in the game. So was everybody a little confused about what was going to happen going into this season with offense? Absolutely. And I still think we're all like, well, we know Travis is the for sure one, but the 2 and the 3, we still don't know who it is. And Juju, one thing about Chiefs Kingdom is we have a hashtag that says Juju catches everything. So right now he's really proven himself to be that number 2, that number 1 guy. He's stepped up big, but I mean, MVS has also been a dog. McCole finally had his first breakout game. So it's like, you don't know where it's going to come from. So I think that's the one thing we're all most excited about because it's different every week.
Yeah, it definitely is. You can't just key on one guy. Well, you can, and that's Travis Kelce, but you can't key on any guys outside of him. Like you mentioned, you said Juju Smith-Schuster, you got McCole Hardman, Travis Kelce, you got now you got Kadarius Toney they're adding to the equation.
Yeah.
You got Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Isaiah Pacheco. I mean, you name it, they're on the field for the Chiefs. And these guys are not what you would say star guys, all
Absolutely.
of them, but they are players. And I mean, but people forget, the funny thing that, just kind of going off track, but people forget that Andy Reid has been doing this offensively with anybody. And the thing is that people don't remember, when he coached the Eagles, Todd Pinkston was his star wide receiver one year. Todd Pinkston from Southern Mississippi. I'm pretty sure Eagle fans are cussing me right now.
Right.
But yeah, Todd Pinkston. So if he can do it with Todd Pinkston, he can do it with anybody, in my opinion. So out of this group of guys, I mean, which one has kind of surprised you the most out of this group?
I don't know, because I feel like every other week and we talk about this a lot on our podcast too. Like we do a who is the player of the game, and every week it's somebody different. I think we have the best tight end room in the league. I mean, and I could be boasting a little, but I really do. I think our tight ends are very impressive this year. But I also think they have a strong leader in Travis Kelce who is helping them. So, I mean, it's hard for me to say who am I the most impressed with. I will say I'm very happy that CEH, Clyde Edwards, is having a better season. I didn't know what to expect from him this year. I'm a big CEH hater, and I know that's funny to say. I love Pacheco. Pacheco was probably one of the ones I'm most impressed with. Jody Fortson, another one. Like, these guys are just like, it's hard for me to pick one, but if I had to pick one, I would probably go with Pacheco. Most impressed. Gotcha. Very happy.
Yeah, he definitely was a guy that I didn't have on anybody's radar. I didn't have him on my radar. I don't think anybody did, but he definitely has done his thing and shown up and been a key piece to the offensive explosion that is the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, of course, what's that?
He wants the number 1 spot. He's coming for it. So I think he made that very clear in a few pressers too. Like, I want to be that guy. I can be that guy, and he's doing everything he can to prove it.
Definitely has been doing everything he can do. Now, of course, defensively, of course, you can't talk about the offense. We do have to talk about the defense too. Now, the defense, is giving up 24.6 points per game, which isn't exactly great, but they are only giving up 92 yards per game on the ground. To me, that kind of speaks directly to the impact of an emerging star, Mr. Nick Bolton. Yeah. I mean, what can you say about just the impact he has on that defense?
Nick Bolton is, how do I say, a dog. He is a beast, okay? And not only is he making a true impact on the defense, he was without his right-hand man for 4 weeks in Willie Gay. And I think when you watch the Niners game, you see how impressive those two are together. They're a dynamic duo. I mean, as a person from Kansas City, Missouri, I'm also a big Mizzou fan. And Nick Bolton went to Mizzou. So I'm not surprised that he came in the league and he took off the way that he did, because he has everything it takes to be, I don't want to say defensive player of the year, because I'm thinking that's going to be Chris Jones. But he has everything it takes to get to that level. And I'm very impressed. And I think Chiefs Kingdom is too, with the results and everything that he's done for us so far this season.
Yeah, he definitely is an amazing talent to watch. I mean, I didn't expect this coming from him. And then, backing up. He said he is from Missouri. So he went to the University of Missouri, which Columbia, Missouri, and Kansas City, Missouri couldn't be two different places. But it just, I had to say that. But I mean, I didn't expect
hours away from each other.
Yeah,
in between Kansas City and St. Louis.
Yeah, 2.5, but they are worlds apart.
Completely.
Yeah, so it just, it's interesting that he matriculated there, and now he is starring for that defense. Now, okay, we have talked about a little offense and defense, but of course there is a game to talk about. Like we mentioned earlier, Sunday Night Football, Kansas City Chiefs, Tennessee Titans, Sunday Night Football in front of the nation. The nation. Okay. So, of course, the defense, I mentioned 92 yards per game, but they're giving up on the ground. But they have a big challenge this week. The big man. They call him King Henry. It's coming to town. And now, if you don't know, let's see. He did have 200-plus yards last game, 219, I believe, to be exact. And in his last 4 games, he has gone over 100 yards. He's moved up to the 3rd leading rusher in the NFL, and people are still not really talking about him quite as much as he did last year. But it's very much. But, you got your Saquon Barkleys and your Nick Chubbs, and that's probably why. But what kind of a challenge do you think he poses for this Kansas City defense?
I mean, it's going to be –
they gotta get the big boy pads
every time we play the Titans. Like, the Titans can always be that random game that we lose. Like, always. Like, we just do not play well against the Titans, and I don't know what it is. I mean, I know what it is. It's Derrick Henry. Our run game has to be impressive this week. Like, our defense, that line is going to have to do everything that they can. I'm really hoping we pull up Shelton from the practice squad and put him right there in the middle to stop this man, because Derrick Henry is a dog. He's a beast. I think it's going to be really important that we just focus in on doing whatever we can to stop him. If we stop him, we're good. Like, not saying we're not worried about your receivers or anything like that, but I mean, I think it's evidently clear that if Derrick Henry has over 100 yards, then this is not going to be a good game for Kansas City. So we're going to have to do everything in our power to make sure that we are putting as many men on him as possible, so he's not running all over us. I mean, again, I think we get a lot of people back this week too. I mean, we get we get McDuffie back this week. Again, I'm hoping that we make that practice squad call and bring Shelton up, but I don't know. I mean, I definitely think we'll be okay. We've been going against some of the best defenses already this season with the Bucks and with the Niners, which you see how they kind of changed the story on their defense after we played them. So I'm interested to see like what this looks like going against them this week. And just, we got to stop Derrick Henry at the end of the day.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be an interesting thing to watch. And one thing that also I noticed as well is that, the Chiefs are good against the run, but I wonder, is it because they're good against the run, or is that teams are trying to play catch up? I wonder that. Well, that'll be kind of tested a little bit this week as well. Along with that, of course, you spoke defense, and we know the offense is going to do their thing, and we know the Titans, as far as secondary, not necessarily the strongest. It'll be the front four of the Titans that'll be the difference, I think, in this game. But what I do think is going to be something to watch is the two of the top defensive interior linemen in football, Chris Jones and Jeffrey Simmons. Those two big guys can play. And watching them in this game is exciting to me. I mean, is it exciting to you to think about those two guys making plays? Well, of course, not Jeffrey Simmons, but
no, for sure. I mean, if you look at the rankings, of course, your guy is ranked higher than my guy, and that's okay. But their numbers are so identical in a sense as well. Like, I will say though, like, Chris Jones has 5 sacks, should have 7. We're not going to get into that. But no, those two are going to have to be huge impacts this week in this game. I know Chris Jones is kind of on a high right now, and he kind of knows what needs to be done at the end of the day. He is one of our biggest leaders on our defense, and he's going to have to rally as much as he can with this team to make sure that we are stopping the run and then just making sure that we're, solid all together. So, I mean, I think you guys have a dog too, and yeah, it's going to be interesting. That's for sure. So I'm excited to see what they both do. I can't wait, because I think they both are definitely going to turn up. And I think they know that they kind of have to kick it into a high gear, because the Titans, I mean, they're 5-2. So it's like, you can't take this game lightly at all. So, and especially if we both want to get these certain rankings in the playoffs, every single game at this point matters. So I think they understand the importance of going into this week. So I can't wait to see what they both do on both sides.
Well, one thing I will say too that I'm watching is Kevin Byard. I mean, the all-pro safety from the Tennessee Titans. He's got a tall task on his hands, because he's probably going to be seeing Travis Kelce a lot. And also he's got a young secondary that may be without Amani Hooker this week, which, for those that aren't aware, and for Chief Kingdom and, the people that will listen that from Chief Kingdom, Amani Hooker is the guy that usually takes on the tight ends for each team. And he's been very, very successful at that, to the tune of getting an extension from the Titans to continue to do that. So if he's out this week, that means Kevin Byard's going to have to do that a lot more, which means the younger guys are going to potentially be exposed a little more. Now, Christian Fulton, I will say, he's been challenged by Mike Vrabel this week to actually continue to, play as well as he has. And he's trying to be that number one corner, which he did very well the last couple of weeks. And, of course, you have Roger McCreary, who beat out former first-round pick Caleb Farley for the starting spot, by the way. So you got those two out there, not very big corners. So it'll be interesting to see how they match up against the receivers of the Chiefs. I think Hardeman, he'll match up well against. They'll match up a little bit better against.
Yeah.
But Juju, I'm not sure how that's going to work, because Juju's a big body wide receiver, and he's gonna. Yeah, and he's gonna body at least one of the Titans' defensive backs, in my opinion.
But our secondary is young as well. So, I mean, I think we've been kind of going through those struggles as well going through this season, because we're young all around, offense and defense. And, I think they're finally starting to gel, but we've been having those same things too, especially with our corners. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, the thing is with you all, though, y'all actually got like weapons, and people don't really respect the Titans wide receiver weapons. I'm not trying to talk bad about the Titans wide receivers. No, sure. Don't get me wrong, but just nobody really respects them a lot. I mean, Robert Woods is a veteran, and he can make some things, but he's more of a complimentary guy. He's not necessarily the number one wide receiver. Yeah. And of course, Treylon Burks is still out hurt right now. That's a big thing for them, because he was more of an explosive guy, and he actually was the big bang plays. He made those. So it'll be interesting just to see what happens and how they're able to kind of make some things happen or not against the Chiefs defense. But of course, we have got towards the end of the show, and of course, there's a game. There's 5 questions, 2 answers, and you have to make one choice.
Okay.
Are you ready?
No, I'm not. Not ready. Okay.
Well, okay. All right. Now I'm going to ask you about these 2 running backs, and I need you to pick one of them. Now, this is going in the Chiefs' past a little bit here.
Okay.
Priest Holmes or Jamal Charles? Which one, if you had to take one, would you take?
Why would you do that? God. Man, it would have to be Priest Holmes. That's my guy. I love me some Priest Holmes. I just remember being younger and being at the game and just being like, "Oh my God, this dude is crazy!" Like, what in the world? So yeah, my answer would be Priest Holmes.
I still remember him going across the end zone and always like turning to the side and sliding in the end zone. I'm like, I still remember him doing that. That was awesome to watch. Now, of course, I know the answer is going to be what the answer is probably going to be on this next question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Texas barbecue or Kansas City barbecue?
What?
I knew the answer. I already knew.
Kansas City barbecue for sure. Texas barbecue is disgusting. It is dry. They don't use enough. Okay, so Kansas City barbecue, they use seasoning and sauces. Like you get both. You don't have to have either or. And there's just 100% Kansas City barbecue. If you go to Kansas City, go get barbecue. It doesn't even matter where you kind of, but it doesn't.
Well, you could kind of give me a few places, but either we can talk about that now or talk about it after. I got my pen in hand.
Right, you gotta go to Gates for sure. People love Stack, but every time my friends come to Kansas City, they go to Gates. I'm taking them to Gates. That's what we're doing.
Okay. All right. I'm going to make a note of that. So if I do so happen to visit Kansas City, I'm going to go to Gates then. Okay.
I don't think it's a far drive. I think it's only 8 hours. You can pull up to the city.
Oh, boy. I have a limit about 6 hours. 6 hours, I got to fly if it's over 6. I can't go. Maybe in my younger days I would do that, but not.
Right?
All right. Now, of course, these 2 teams are teams that your team faces in the AFC West. If you had to cheer for one of these teams, would it be the Raiders or the Chargers?
Well, my hate for both is equal. God. I would probably pick the Chargers. Golly. So, okay, if I had to pick a team to cheer for, I would probably pick the Raiders. I just changed my vote. I would probably pick the Raiders because I know that they would lose because they're not good. So, yeah, I would probably go with the Raiders. Plus, I like their colors better than the Chargers, and their stadium is. I'm not going to go down to stadiums. They both have pretty dope stadiums, but I'm going to go Raiders just because I like to wear black. It's in my color palette.
There we go. Now, their stadium does look like it's in Star Wars. It's out of Star Wars, right?
100%. I went and made sure to stand in front of it with my Chiefs Kingdom flag, and I was like, this looks like a spaceship. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah, it actually would be very fitting if that stadium was in DC, since it is the Commanders, and I call their stadium the space station, so it would kind of be fit for them. So.
Are they even going to have a team next year?
Oh, they'll have a team, probably just a different owner. All right, now when you're watching a Chiefs game, would you rather watch a blowout or a close game?
Man, I love a good game. Like, blowouts are fun, but I love a good game. Like, I love to see Patrick in his element. I love to see the defense turn up. I think most Chiefs fans will say, like, when we feel better when we're behind than when we're ahead because we know when we're behind, we can always come back. And most of the time, we always come back from a deficit. So I'm okay with a close game because I trust my quarterback. I trust my coaches. Their playbook is crazy. So, yeah.
All right. And, of course, the last one, I'm going to make you pick between 2 Chiefs wide receivers that are there now. McCole Hardman or Juju Smith-Schuster?
Probably definitely Juju, just because I don't even know if McCole is going to be a Chief next year. I'm grateful for McCole and being on our Super Bowl winning team. Like, he has been great, but I think the future is Juju. So I'm definitely going with Juju catches everything.
All right. You heard it here first. Now, of course, I will say that I did talk to a fan of a particular team that's in the NFC, and I do think that Hardeman could end up there next year.
Which team said?
That would be, a certain team that has a front office guy from the Kansas City.
Okay.
In the NFC. Are you kind of seeing where I'm going here?
I think he could end up there too. I can see that as a very high possibility. I mean, I definitely don't think he's going to be a Chief since we brought in KT. Right. KT can do everything better than Mecole, and we love Mecole and everything he's done for us. But it's time, and it's okay. It's time, and it's okay. So
the only thing about KT is you got to keep him out of the cold tub. If you keep him out of the cold tub, he's gonna be all right. But he just can't stay on the field. That's the biggest thing.
Right now, I expect to see him on special teams this weekend. So he was getting some reps in today with punt return, which, as you know, that's been tough for us. So I'm hoping that he gets his opportunity this weekend.
Yeah, I definitely think that Sky Moore will step forward a little bit more in the wide receiver room next year. Definitely, probably not in the punt return.
He's not a punt returner. He did not do it in college. So why are we forcing him to do this?
I don't know. Y'all having experiments on the field out there. I just don't know what to understand it.
Wrong times, man. At the complete wrong times.
All right. Now, of course, that we have reached the end of the show. I want to thank you for coming on today. And also I want to, kind of give you the floor, talk about what all you have going on, where people can find you on Twitter, whatever you want to talk about. The floor is yours.
Oh God, I told you I'm not good at this part, but you can find me on Twitter at Miss Jo New. A lot of people know me by the Football Queen. Also on Instagram, same name, Miss Jo New. I don't really get on Facebook. I don't really get on Snapchat because I'm too old for that. But then also find me on Kingdom Queens every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. We do a live stream on Twitter as well. And then the next day, we also always post to Spotify and to Apple and YouTube and to Facebook and all of those great things. So, yeah, come find me there.
All right. Well, I want to thank you again for coming on, giving us a little bit of Chiefs knowledge ahead of this big game Sunday night. And I want to thank everyone for tuning in to Touring the AFC South with your host, Mike Patton. We're out.